Hello. Good morning. Let me see. I'm super bright. There we go. Uh, Today is Thursday, October 17th. I hope everybody has had a good week. I hope that you have a good finish to your week. Tomorrow is Friday. Yay. I am going to the Texas State Fair this weekend. I've never been. Very excited. I met one of my neighbors who is going to help me with this monster and my very well behaved dog, who is super easy. This one is the one I'm worried about. I just don't want her to try to escape. Yes, because you like to try to do that, don't you? That's why you have an air tag, you little shit. But yeah, so my neighbor that's going to help me with the animals, I am paying her. She's a younger veteran, so happy to have her help out. Her and her wife live right around the corner. It's 2 minutes away. Yeah, I'm a little nervous leaving the animals because Michi is 13. We're leaving Friday night, late, 9 probably, because we don't get kiddo until 8 on her birthday. But and then we're gonna drive immediately to Dallas. It's 4 hours, and then we'll be back Sunday. Yeah, I'm so going to be worried the whole time, but I have cameras. So I will be looking in on the animals as often as I can. I do that when I'm at the office now. I look in. But anyway, enough. I think I'm going to hire somebody to come check on the animals in the middle of the day because I'm such a worrywart when it comes to my animals, and my dog definitely paces and stuff when I'm not home. She's used to having me home, so I've been home for the last 7 years. So I'm talking to the professional dog person too. But anyway, all right, well, let's jump into it. I forgot to make the stream this morning, so that's why there was no stream. So the husband that of Susan Simpson that has been missing for I think 10 days now. The search has been on for 10 days. Uh, the husband is also now facing other charges. He is facing federal charges, federal gun charges. So let's get into that. No, I accidentally made the screen big. I have to share screen and then I can make the screen big. Otherwise, it takes up my entire screen. All right, let's jump into it.
Well, in this arrest warrant, it alleges that the police had searched the home back on October 9th. And then the next day, a family member came forward and said that Brad had guns and they wanted to turn it in. That's when authorities discovered that unregistered short barreled rifle. Meanwhile, when it comes to Suzanne's search, we know they wrapped up around 6 tonight, and we're still waiting for an update on if they found anything. For hours, crews searched through piles and piles of trash, hoping to find the almost park mother of 4, Suzanne Simpson, who had been missing since October 6. This is the second day the Texas Rangers, along with the Almost Park Police, searched the landfill on the east side, but they had more help Tuesday. 25 cadets from San Antonio Police threw on hazmat suits and joined in on the effort. And about every 5 minutes, an excavator would dig up trash, pour it into a dump truck, then drive it up the hill, where the crew diligently searched. In a statement sent to Almost Park residents, the police chief wrote, quote, "We feel confident there is a good chance of recovering Suzanne at that location. Evidence, statements, and solid police investigation has led us there," end quote. Suzanne's brother-in-law, Bart Simpson, wrote on Facebook Tuesday that they're appreciative of the endless, grueling hours police have committed to uncovering solid information. He added they are comforted by the fact they may be close to finding out what happened to Suzanne. Meanwhile, Suzanne's husband, Brad Simpson, who is accused of assaulting her before she went missing, remains in the Bexar County Jail with a $2 million bond and a federal hold by the ATF for unlawful possession of a short-barreled rifle, the rifle pictured in this arrest warrant. And we do know crews will be back out at that landfill tomorrow morning. Again, I've reached out to investigators and especially the Almost Park Police Chief to try and get an update, and I'm still waiting to hear back.
I'm muted. They didn't find anything, so they still haven't found anything. But I like that they said the brother's name is Bart Simpson instead of Barton Simpson. His name is Barton, not Bart. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he existed before The Simpsons because he looked older than me. Let's see, when did The Simpsons come out? So The Simpsons came out in 1989. So anyway, the issue, she said that the short-barreled rifle was unregistered. In the state of Texas, you don't have to have your guns registered. The issue is that it doesn't have the barrel that it's supposed to, so it's easier to conceal. That's what the issue is, and that's why it's a federal charge. My dog is going to disconnect my headphones. Michi, move. Step over it. Come on, finish. Thank you. Uh, yeah, in Texas and Florida, you don't have to register your guns, which I'm not really sure how I feel about that, but mine's not registered just because I'm lazy, not because I don't want the government to know I have it. But anyway, y'all don't need to know what I got. I assure you it's not a short barrel rifle. So yesterday was, well, I really hope that they find Susan. And I hate that they're trying to recover her in a landfill. I really hope that they find something. I don't see any updates yet. The police, yeah, I don't see like specifics as to why they're feel like they need to be in the landfill, but that information they're not sharing yet. I am looking through an article. So the search warrant was sealed for the federal case and can be in place for 31 days. So all they've said is that there's evidence, solid police investigation. So the local law enforcement, Texas Rangers, and DPS are all working on this. This isn't just a local investigation. So yesterday, the Menendez brothers had a press conference. The family spoke out and is demanding the release of the brothers. So I have a quick video from their local news from a recap of the press conference if you didn't have a chance to watch it.
Our other top story here at 5, family members of Eric and Lyle Menendez made an emotional call for their release today, 35 years after they killed their parents.
But not everyone in the family agrees with this. KCAL News reporter Rachel Kim has the story from downtown LA.
It's time to recognize the injustice they've suffered and allow them the second chance they deserve.
I believe we can finally bring justice for my cousins, Lyle and Eric.
In what they call a powerful show of unity, nearly 24 family members of Lyle and Eric Menendez gathered in front of the criminal courthouse in downtown LA to push for the brothers' release from prison. This after LA County District Attorney George Gascon recently announced that his office is reviewing new evidence to determine whether the brothers should be serving life sentences for killing their parents.
I am here to ask the district attorney's office to take into account the full picture. The truth that was hidden for so long.
56-year-old Lyle Menendez and 53-year-old Eric Menendez are in state prison without the possibility of parole after being convicted of killing their parents, Jose and Kitty, with a shotgun in their Beverly Hills mansion more than 35 years ago. The brothers said they killed out of self-defense after enduring a lifetime of sexual, physical, and emotional abuse from them.
As details of Lyle and Eric's abuse came to light, it became clear that their actions, while tragic, were the desperate response of two boys trying to survive the unspeakable cruelty of their father.
Earlier this month, Gascon said his office is reviewing new evidence and will decide on whether the case warrants resentencing or a new trial. The new evidence includes a letter written by Eric to his cousin 8 months before the killing, describing the abuse. Also, a new witness. A former member of the boy band Menudo claims he was sexually abused by Jose Menendez at the family's home.
And it corroborates what was testified to in trial number 1.
During trial, prosecutors said there was no evidence of any molestation. They said the sons were after the parents' multi-million-dollar estate. Kitty Menendez's brother, Milton Anderson, agrees.
He believes that what occurred originally in the trial in terms of the conviction and the sentence was just. And that was because it's his understanding that the motive behind the murder was really it was based on greed.
Kathy Katie says her client has been kept in the dark about decisions in this case and found out about the DA's decision from the media.
And he wants to make sure that his voice is not forgotten or silenced.
If Lyle and Eric's case were heard today, there is no doubt in my mind that their sentencing would have been very different.
After the news conference, family members walked across the street to DA Gascon's office because, per what's known as Marcy's Law, crime victims have a right to be heard. They have a right to a say in the matter. Now, a court hearing on this case is scheduled for late November. Family members of Lyle and Eric Menendez hope that the brothers are released from prison and at home in time for Thanksgiving. Reporting from downtown LA, Rachel Kim, KCAL News.
The Menendez case led to a media frenzy when it first happened, and today was no different. A sea of reporters and photographers surrounded the family as they made their statements this afternoon.
A lot of media, hundreds of maybe international media, local media, many. It was really a lot.
I'm only a few years younger than them, and I remember when it happened, so it's amazing to see the interest in this.
Well, adding to the spotlight, Netflix released the true crime documentary, The Menendez Brothers, earlier this month.
And tonight, we're taking a deeper look into reevaluating closed cases.
Assignment editor Mike Rogers at the desk. Now, Mike, you've gotten some data from the DA's office. How many of these reviews actually end with people getting out of prison?
Yeah, Pat and Chauncey, we're going to look at that data. But this DA's office created in 2021 what they call their resentencing unit and their murder resentencing unit. So of those cases, how many have they actually looked at? Well, 681 cases have been reviewed by that office. Now, how many of the cases have actually been resentenced? We'll show you here. It's about 300 of these cases. Now, after those resentencing, how many people actually got out of prison? That number even smaller here. Of those 300, we'll show you it is 206 people who were immediately released right after their cases were resentenced. Now, when we talk about the Menendez case, we have to remember that this is all a case that will be brought by the DA's office or be helped by the DA's office if he chooses to ask the case to be reviewed. But ultimately, it is up to a court and a judge to ultimately grant the resentencing, what that resentencing would be, if it would be immediate release or if it would be lesser time than they were originally sentenced to. So the DA's office in this situation is reviewing that case based on some of that new evidence that we've been telling you about. But will it actually lead to their release? That is yet to be seen, obviously. It has to go through a chain of events, Pat and Chauncey. But most importantly, this will ultimately be up to a judge to decide if this case will be resentenced or if these brothers will be released. Guys?
That's a weird angle, the way that they came in on this reporter. So it looks like you guys are kind of split. 67% believe that they should be released, 33% no. So if this was just a clear-cut case of them killing their parents for money, then I would agree that they shouldn't be released. But if the level of abuse that they're saying happened, then that's quite different. And especially if they can bring proof of that abuse. I don't know why that letter wasn't brought in previously. I think that they found it in the cousin's attic after he died. I don't think the cousin even remembered that he had it. So it's not just they planned to kill their parents and then got money. There was years and years and years of abuse, and what they went through with their parents. I've been listening to cult podcasts, literally just cults. It's by the Parcast Network. So I've been listening every day, all day while I'm working. So like 8 hours a day. I'm I told Steve I'm basically a cult expert now. That's why Steve and I are going to do a joint stream to discuss some of these cults. The abuse that they went through is very similar to what some cult members have gone through. It messes with your way to think. It messes with, they had privileged lives in the sense that they had access to stuff, but their father was powerful. I'm sure he put the fear of God into them. That's a different generation. My dad was even older than their dad. I know that they think different, and also coming from a Cuban background, um, Cuban immigrants are a bit harsher on their families. They want them to, do well. Um, thankfully, my dad wasn't like that, but I do know from other families. But yeah, I agree. I would not want to be a jury on the case. Well, I think that they've served 35 years. So even if they got life in prison, they would have already served their sentence. And if they were abused basically their entire life, you also have to think about the psychological aspect of it and the psychological damage. So it's easy to think about what we would do in those situations. But when you've been abused for, your whole life, and you truly think that you have no way out, then and would we be thinking this if it was an 18-year-old girl and a 21-year-old girl? So it's just it's a very complicated case. There's a lot to do with it, and y'all know how I feel about murderers. Like, I'm pro death penalty and all that stuff, but I do feel for the Menendez brothers. But we'll see what happens. I do at the very least want the evidence reviewed. I do want the evidence reviewed. I do want them to have a chance at the evidence that should have been brought up during their trial, at least reconsidered and brought up. So at the very, very least. All right. So we are going to move into some graphic content. So I do want to warn you guys, some of the information in the next couple cases may be disturbing, and
this program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
My fancy advisor. So the next case is another case where, does this person have the right to take somebody else's life? So in this case, a father, the father's daughter was raped. The person got arrested. He got out on bond, kidnapped the daughter. The father is looking for his daughter, calls 911, finds the rapist with his daughter, and he kills the rapist. He has been arrested. Should he go to prison?
Matt, let me start with you. Is the analysis, even in a case where, man, did the system mess up by letting this guy out, is the analysis as simple as, in the state, if it's not stand your ground, was it reasonable for him to use deadly force in defense of his own life or the defense of his child's life? Is that the end of the analysis for this guy, this dad, Matt?
Ultimately, that is the end. That's the call that a jury, if they charge him with anything here, Chris, that will be the decision they have to make. And in my view, they shouldn't arrest him for first-degree murder. The sheriff's right. The prosecutor decides what to charge. This is a voluntary manslaughter at its absolute most. And this is really the analysis here is he defending his daughter? Is he defending his daughter from death or great bodily injury? I think a lot of jurors here are going to say yes.
Misty?
Even a brilliant prosecutor could not get a conviction in this case. We're talking about a confrontation that happens while his minor daughter is in the car. Someone who's been accused of a rape is in violation of a no contact order. That's what really matters, what happened in that time frame. And I don't think we see charges here. And if we do, I think a jury is going to acquit.
Just quickly, help me understand this. So he wasn't really charged. That's why the sheriff backed away from it. They arrested on probable cause. Now they'll figure out they're going to dump it on the prosecutor. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to follow this one because I don't know how they let this guy out. What did they think was going to happen? Misty Maris, Matt Murphy, thank you for the quick take on this. We'll have the conversation again. Dan Abrams.
Pleasure as always.
Right
Thank
now. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to.
How did they let this guy, the rapist, out? Everybody gets bond. Everybody gets bond. It is a constitutional right. We can, no matter how evil somebody is, we generally cannot lock somebody up without a trial. And it depends on the state. It depends on the judge. So that's why the guy was out. So, you know, how did they let this guy out? Well, most places would let him out on bond. So I don't think that the father should be charged. The guy already raped her and then he kidnapped her. I would think that she's in danger of being raped again. I think it's protection, and I hope that he's not charged. So the next story is another child, but I mean, not child age, but a child killing their parent. So a woman is charged with the murder of her mother after her mom was found dismembered and being cooked on the stove in a pot. There was a trial. I can't remember the name of the trial. We watched it with Steve on Publicly Buzzed, where he did like basically the same thing. So this is a little deranged. Like if the Menendez brothers did that, probably wouldn't be on their side so much, because that's just insane. So this was more of the story that I'm a little concerned about the details. So I don't know how far in depth they go. So just warning you guys.
You're watching WLWT News 5, leading the way.
Welcome back. There were no warning signs. For the first time now, we're hearing from the family of the woman accused of murdering and dismembering her mother. All of this happening in Robertson County, Kentucky. And we want to warn you ahead of time. Details in this crime pretty darn disturbing. WLWT News 5's Brian Hamrick live with a story. And Brian, we heard from the family of both women involved in the case today, huh?
Yeah, Mike, well, it's been very difficult for them because they're in two corners at once. For the mother, because she's the victim, and for the daughter, because they say no one would have predicted this.
It was a surprise to all of us.
The mugshot captured the image of Tortolina Fields. For her family, she's unrecognizable.
The girl with the mugshot? No, that's not who we know.
As a person and in what she's accused of doing.
The details and stuff, I mean, it's literally unimaginable is unimaginable.
The victim, Trudy Fields, was Tortolina's mother.
A godly Christian woman.
Diane Brock, the victim's sister, and her brother, Todd Brock, are beyond stunned.
We've never had to acquire anything like this in our life.
We obviously, everybody's angry and confused and stuff at why.
Olivia Brock is Trudy Fields' niece and Tortolina's cousin. The family is caught in an emotional paradox.
I'm so sad and I want justice for my family member, but I'm so sad because is my other family member not okay?
It all began with a call from this rural address in Robertson County. KSP arrived to find Trudy Fields had been shot in the head, stabbed multiple times. Her body was dismembered. They also found body parts in a pot inside the oven. Tortolina was covered in blood. Officers say they had to use tear gas on her as she tried to cast spells on them. Family says a recent accident could be insight into what happened.
We were told a couple of months ago that she was in a bad motorcycle accident and sustained a brain injury.
Tortolina was scheduled to be in court, but after being indicted on murder charges, had not seen the indictment, so it was all rescheduled. The family says they'll return to court. One family with split emotions. It's difficult to understand as the crime Yeah, the family tells us that Tortolina went to California a few years ago. She was even in some lower end movies out there, but they say that's where she was in this motorcycle accident. They didn't even know she was back from California until all of this. Reporting live, Brian Hemrick, WLWT News 5.
Yeah, I mean, a brain injury can definitely change your personality. I was in a car accident in 2014 and I had a level 3 concussion that wasn't diagnosed right away. It wasn't caught for a few days. And I had some issues. My anxiety started spiking. And I had to take a couple months off work to be able to properly heal. So if she had a really bad brain injury, that's terrible. That's horrible. And it's sad that, she probably needed help and had a psychotic break from a brain injury trying to cast spells. She probably thought her mom was evil or something. I guess we'll find out. You know that one's going to be all in the news because of the details. Yeah, I was thinking of Joel Guy Jr. We watched that one on Publicly Buzzed, and that one was a pretty crazy trial. And if anybody's a reptilian person or like a person wearing a human suit, then Joel Guy Jr. is definitely that. Like, yeah, if you guys haven't seen the trial of Joel Guy Jr., he gives me the creeps. He gives me the heebie-jeebies. All right, so the next update is, I don't know if you guys remember the Slender Man stabbings. One of the young women was put into a mental facility, and then recently she's been put back in a mental facility, and now she is requesting to be released. So far, the judges have not said that she's okay for the public. I would prefer her not to be released, because if you all don't remember, I'm trying to think how old they were when this happened. Slenderman stabbings. This was in 2014, so they were 12 years old, and they lured their friend into a park and stabbed her 19 times because they were trying to appease Slenderman. The girl survived, so they were charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide, one of them, and then the other one was second degree. So it's been 10 years, and these girls still have some mental health issues. So there's a quick update on them.
One of the women convicted in the Waukesha Slender Man stabbing case 10 years ago is once again asking to be released from a mental institution. 22-year-old Morgan Geyser filed a petition in Waukesha County Court. A judge denied her release in April, saying she still remains a risk to the public. Geyser and Anissa Wire were 12 when they stabbed a classmate after a sleepover. They said they did it to please the fictional character, Slender Man. The victim survived. Wire was released to home supervision 3 years ago.
Yeah, so they must see something in this other girl that they're not releasing her. She was the mastermind, this one. So let me see. What? I only have so much time, and okay, I have animal stories to end with, but we're not there yet. What do I want next? So a therapist, a Seattle youth therapist, has fled the country after being charged with child porn. So if you are in the Seattle area and know anybody that had a kid in therapy or anything like that, definitely show them the story. So, there could be victims out there. Don't know. Sometimes people have child porn and don't act on it, but you really never know.
A local child therapist is arrested for child pornography, but police say he managed to escape the U.S. Today, Fox 13 Seattle is looking at how the suspect slipped through the cracks so easily.
The details we're uncovering are frustrating and concerning. Fox 13's AJ Janival reports what went wrong from the airport.
Documents that I obtained show law enforcement stopped that suspect, Yu Shangling, for a brief moment here at the airport, but those records show Port of Seattle police let the accused child sexual exploiter go due to confusion over red tape. Port of Seattle police was on scene and declined detention of the subject due to a lack of a warrant. A one-sentence answer as to why a man accused of peddling in the misery of sexually abused children is now free.
We believe that they absolutely could have arrested him, and we were under the belief that they would have because they didn't need a warrant.
Probable cause documents I obtained show 26-year-old Yushan Ling, who went by Bruce, worked as a family and child therapist. According to the documents, Ling was employed with Valley City's behavioral health care. Ling claimed in that role he collaborated with schools, DCYF, CPS, and Seattle Children's Hospital.
Extremely disturbing allegations.
Police discovered dozens of images of child pornography in a computer file alongside a file for his cover letter for an application to Seattle Children's Hospital.
That's just so awful when you read the details in those court documents.
Ling bonded out of jail with possibly as little as $7,500 out of his own pocket. He then somehow acquired an illegal passport, and despite Homeland Security flagging his planned escape and King County Sheriff notifying the Port of Seattle police to make an arrest, which documents say they agreed to do, officers at the airport let Ling board a flight to China.
What he could have been arrested on were two things. One is attempted bail jumping for trying to board that flight. The other is not following court orders by getting that passport and trying to get on the flight.
I spoke to officials with the Port of Seattle Police Department who tell me they have to have probable cause or a warrant to make an arrest. They say they're not sure if they had that at the time of this incident. Reporting here at SeaTac.
Isn't that the point of like radioing in? Like you radio in and they're like, hey, does this person have a warrant? Isn't that how the system works? So like, oh, we don't know if he has a warrant. Yes, you pervert. Go ahead and go to China. We're never going to see you again. I'm pretty sure China doesn't send people back. And if he's on bond, aren't you not supposed to go to another country? Yeah, that's a huge fuck up. Major mess up there. Like, no. So now moving on to Houston, a landlord found a woman's body inside a home, and now the police are looking for the woman's partner. This is in Fort Bend County, so it's borders Harris County. Another domestic violence homicide. There's so many. I see so many of these a day. Everybody's lost their damn mind.
Right after the landlord makes a gruesome discovery inside a Fort Bend County home, his female tenant stabbed to death and wrapped in a sheet. Thank you for joining us at 10 o'clock. I'm Keith Garvin.
Good evening. I'm Daniela Guzman. Tonight, there is an urgent search for her husband, who investigators believe killed her. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry is live at the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office tonight with what we have learned about this couple. Bryce?
Daniela and Keith, this young couple has been in the United States for less than a year. They came here seeking better opportunities, according to family. But tonight, at just 23, her life has been cut short, and he's on the run, wanted for her murder. At this quiet mobile home park in Richmond, inside Unit 18, where the door is still dangling.
I just saw her hands, like there.
Alex Roberto discovered the body of his 23-year-old tenant, Angie Tatiana Montealegre Izquierdo, covered with a black sheet.
I can't even talk yesterday. It was horrible.
Roberto got called to check the house Monday when Izquierdo's partner, 24-year-old John Vanegas Romero, abruptly resigned from work.
He showed up at the warehouse and he quit the job. He got one hand that was kind of hurt. And He said he did something crazy.
The couple moved from Colombia less than a year ago, he says, seeking better opportunities and to support their families. But now investigators call him the suspect in her stabbing death.
They did have somewhat of a volatile relationship, and witnesses had seen them engage in what we would consider domestic violence situations.
Her family filled with emotion from thousands of miles away in Colombia. Now hoping for justice. Overnight, Fort Bend County SWAT teams followed tips to this rural area in Needville looking for Romero. So far, they've only found the car they believe he was driving.
She was a very gracious person. She was a very respectful.
As their landlord, and investigators now search for answers, leading to his capture. And investigators say Romero is considered to be armed and dangerous tonight. They're asking for any tips in this case to be called into Fort Bend County Crime Stoppers. We're live in Fort Bend County tonight.
I hope they catch him. I hope they catch him soon. Oh, I'm so tired of these domestic violence homicides. Like, honestly, like, I had shitty relationships in my 20s, but it's like, I don't really even think about them, you know? I don't think about the guys that I dated then. So, like, just walk away, and then in 10 years, you're never gonna think of them again. Like, just leave, find somebody else, move on. Like, shit, I haven't been on a date in years. I'm totally happy with my dog and cat and my roommate and everyone thinking that I'm in a relationship that meets us. That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. Just be alone. Did you guys know that the Cash App founder was murdered? Did y'all know that? That there's a trial underway right now because of his murder? Yeah, I didn't know that. I found that when I was looking for stories.
Opening statements are underway in the trial of the man charged with killing the founder of the digital finance company Cash App. Bob Lee was stabbed to death in San Francisco last year, and prosecutors say the suspect planned that attack over a dispute involving his sister. NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin joins us now. So, Dana, it has been a little while since we talked about this case. Can you remind us what it's all about?
Sure, Zinclay. This goes back to the night of April 4th, technically midnight. These are two acquaintances, and this alleged murder, targeted murder, centers around the victim's relationship to Momini, Nima Momini, and his sister, who may be at the center of that dispute. So investigators say Lee was stabbed underneath the Bay Bridge and stumbled for help. There's even video showing him trying to flag down a car. The car drives off. Lee managed to call 911 himself. He later died at the hospital from a stab wound to his heart and lung. A toxicology test found that Lee had alcohol, cocaine, ketamine, and allergy medication in his system. And the defense hopes to capitalize on his drug use because they want to paint this as self-defense. They claim that Lee is the one who brought the knife and that the defendant, Momini, used it in self-defense. Zinclay?
So, Dana, what have we heard during opening statements so far, and how long is the trial expected to last?
Yeah, it could last through December, and we've heard some pretty interesting pieces of evidence already from the prosecution. She started her opening statements by saying that the victim was stabbed multiple times and that, ladies and gentlemen, quote, "you are sitting in the court with the murderer." So this all stems back to the day before the murder, where the victim was with the defendant's sister and a couple of friends inside her apartment, allegedly using drugs, and that triggered the anger from the defendant. And they talked about some text messages that were sent from the sister to the defendant just 6 hours after the murder, where she called him, quote, psychotic at times. And that morning, she also texted the victim asking if he was okay because, quote, her brother came way down hard on you. And so we're also going to see more information about what the defendant did days after the murder. Investigators say they recorded him at his defense attorney's office motioning stab motions to show how he possibly could have carried out the stabbing. So those are going to be some important pieces of evidence that come up later in this trial. Zinclay?
Yeah, a lot more information to come. Dana Griffin, thank you.
Thanks for
Nothing. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that piss me off if we're going to be honest, but it pisses me off so much when they try to paint the victim as the villain. Like, I mean, he had cocaine and ketamine, so they kind of cancel each other out, right? Like, and just because he was on those things doesn't mean he was being aggressive. I mean, I lived in Miami. I've seen lots of people on cocaine. They're not, all trying to fight somebody. Miami's the king, the cocaine capital, cocaine cowboys, right? So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting trial, but the guy was a good-looking dude. He was a very good-looking guy too. It's very sad. So a guy called the Belltown Hellcat driver. I've shared him multiple times. He has been featured on here many times. Well, he was supposed to be back in court, and guess what? He didn't show up to court. Why they keep letting him out, I don't know, because he keeps not showing up, and then they arrest him, and he terrorizes this area with his Hellcat. I hate, like, whenever I see a Charger, a Challenger, I stay away because they're probably crazy. But I live around a bunch. I live around a bunch of military people, so they also have Challengers and Chargers and Jeeps. But in Houston, if you see a Challenger or Charger, stay away for sure, 1000%.
That President Mary, as part of that guilty plea, Miles Hudson must have no criminal violations for 5 years. However, he has had several run-ins with the law since then, with charges filed, and now he has a warrant for his arrest. This newly released video shows Miles Hudson handcuffed in a patrol car after he was arrested for assaulting his...
Yeah, so this guy, for those of you that haven't seen the other things, Amanda reminded me, he covers his face in court. He says he doesn't show his face for religious reasons and does all that bullshit, but he's not walking around in public covering his face. He's pulled a lot of bullshit in the court.
Mother in April 2022. He can be heard telling officers his mom wasn't really hurt and he should be let go.
So there's nothing I can do just because she said that. She doesn't have no marks, no none of that. There's nothing I can do. I just go to jail.
Hudson stayed quiet the rest of the way to jail, and prosecutors charged him for knocking his mother out of a chair when she didn't make him coffee.
Okay, if you can step out for me, please.
Hudson pleaded guilty and was ordered to stay out of trouble for 5 years. But in that time, he's been posting daredevil driving videos to Instagram, earning the name Belltown Hellcat Driver. On Friday, he was arrested for violating the terms of his home confinement on 2 new criminal charges of reckless driving and domestic violence stalking. Neighbors at his apartment building say he's caused other troubles.
A very loud night spent the first few months here.
That was pretty bad sometimes. There was a couple of nights where you could hear it, even up through like the higher floors.
Hudson was supposed to appear for a review hearing on the case involving his mother to show the judge he isn't getting into any new trouble.
Miles Oliver Hudson in courtroom. There is no response.
The Belltown Hellcat driver was a no-show, and the judge ordered his bail forfeited, then issued a $50,000 arrest warrant.
I mean, I think it indicates the type of person he is. Not really a caring person for the community, for what's right.
I want to point to one discrepancy. The county jail roster shows that Hudson is still in custody, which may explain why he wasn't at today's hearing. However, a court official in Renton, she told the judge that Hudson posted bail on Saturday and was set free. So we're still trying to sort out this discrepancy. Reporting.
If anybody deserves this sound, it's this dude.
Boo this man!
Boo! I don't like him. I don't like him at all. Lock him away. And he's just going around being a douchebag, basically. Like, he's like, fuck all y'all. So anyway, moving on. So a story coming out of South Florida, a doctor was assaulted. A doctor was beaten unconscious at the Mount Sinai Medical Center.
And right now at noon, a Miami Beach doctor is recovering after he was attacked at Mount Sinai Medical Center.
Police arresting a 19-year-old man who is the son of a patient. Local 10 Syra Onward joins us live this midday.
And I know you have reaction from the doctor now, and he's recovering from his injuries. Is that right?
That's right, Alexis and Christy. This doctor actually spoke to the judge virtually from his hospital bed, explaining the extent of his injuries from this attack. His suspected attacker is now charged with felony aggravated battery and battery on a medical provider.
Ventura Perez del Castillo, F2421733, bottom of page 37. Does he have a lawyer? He does not.
A short hearing this morning in Miami-Dade court to schedule a pretrial detention review after a 19-year-old is arrested for attacking a Miami Beach physician.
Are you afraid of the defendant?
Absolutely.
Dr. Steven Silvers speaking to a Miami Beach judge virtually from a hospital bed after he was violently attacked in his Miami Beach medical office this week. He suffered a concussion, broken ribs, and several injuries to his face.
You know what? I was going to my office and at 8:15 in the morning, and I briefly had interaction with this gentleman, and then I turned to walk away, and he jumped me from the back and beat me.
Police say this is the man responsible, 19-year-old Ventura del Castillo Perez. Police arrested him Monday night. Arrest documents say Perez is the son of one of Dr. Silver's patients. Perez told police he was upset about a medication he says Dr. Silvers prescribed his mother, and he went to the Mount Sinai office to confront him about it and, quote, make the doctor feel pain. The incident was captured on Mount Sinai surveillance system, and police say it shows Perez jumping the doctor from behind and beating him.
These are very serious charges. I'm entering a stay-away order from Dr. Steven Silvers. You are also ordered to stay away from Mount Sinai Medical Center.
So in bond court yesterday, that judge said that Perez is going to stay behind bars on no bond. Today, in that quick hearing, they reset his pretrial detention hearing for next week. In that hearing next week, he could have a bond set or he may not. We'll keep you updated.
And of course, he does it like the most cowardly way. He attacks an older man and he attacks him from behind. He doesn't do it, in the front because, he's a coward. And like, you're upset. I mean, I get it. I've been upset at doctors too, but you don't punch them in the face. I'm just glad it wasn't my doctor because I loved my doctor. My doctor is like amazing that I had over there. So the San Antonio police is looking for a suspect. So it's just a quick little video I'm going to share. And then there is another quick story. So I'm going to let them play back to back that a San Antonio man is sentenced to 30 years for fatally shooting his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend.
The San Antonio Police Department is asking for your help in finding a suspect involved in a robbery where a man was shot and killed. Angel David Salas is 17 years old and stands about 5 feet 10 inches tall. Police say he was involved in a robbery near the 3200 block of El Paso Street back on March 25th of last year. That's where police say David Resendez was shot and killed. If you have any information as to where he might be, call Crime Stoppers at the number here on your screen, 210-224-7867. A San Antonio man was sentenced to 30 years in prison today for fatally shooting his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend at their apartment last year. Jeffrey Klaus was charged with murder in connection with the shooting death of Daniel Gonzalez on March 28, 2023. Police found Gonzalez with several gunshot wounds at an apartment on South Cross, where he was pronounced dead.
Why? Like, I really truly don't understand. I don't get it. Like, it's your girlfriend. Why are you killing her ex-boyfriend? Like, have I had issues with some of my people that I've dated, their exes? Yeah. One time, but this was like 20 years ago, I had this girl that was like obsessed with the guy I was dating, and she got my phone number and would like call my phone constantly. She vandalized my car, and so we met up and dealt with it face to face, because that's what you should do. Just duke it out. And especially in states that have mutual combat, just fight it out. So a Texas task force is seeing a surge in child predator arrest. I mean, the only thing I'm happy about is that they're getting caught. I mean, they're out there regardless if they're getting arrested or not. So at least they're going to prison. We can hope that they're going to prison.
This morning, we're taking a look at some troubling numbers involving internet crimes targeting kids.
In Montgomery County, arrests involving child predators has tripled since last year. Ugochi Iloka has more on what investigators are saying that they're seeing and how parents can help. Ugochi, this is a very concerning topic.
You know, it really is, Steph and Ron. And investigators say that the best thing you can do as a parent is be nosy. They also say that parents should look out for applications on the internet, emphasizing it's the worst thing that happened to our kids. If you take a look at the numbers here, at least in Montgomery County, child predator cases have tripled since January of this year. They went from 34 felony arrests in 2023 to 113 in 2024 so far. This is all according to the Internet Crimes Against Child Task Force with the Montgomery County Precinct 3 Constable's Office. Now they are asking parents to get involved. Every time your kids are connecting with someone online, they say make sure they know that the person behind the screen might not have the best intentions. They've arrested some of the most prominent people, some you'd never think are child predators.
We arrest all walks of life, right? We arrest anywhere from, unfortunately, first responders to public officials, lawyers, doctors. We want to protect kids in our community.
Yeah, and the task force was able to get some additional funding to hire 3 more people, making it a total of 6 investigators looking into these child predator crimes happening online. We have more.
So wouldn't that have to do with the increase? Like, they're like, these numbers are concerning. Well, you think that the perverts aren't out there? They're out there. You just need the cops to, you know, catch them. All right. So I have one more story, one more crime story, and then I have a couple animal stories to end with, of course. So there is a college student that is charged with multiple rapes. So I do want to share this story and his face just because there could be more victims out there. So we want to make sure that people see him, see his face, and also know to stay away from him because we know how the court likes to treat young, good-looking men that are accused of rape.
And Indiana.com.
Whoops. No.
An Indiana University student is in custody accused of raping 2 students on the Bloomington campus.
He now faces 5 counts of rape for the 2 alleged attacks that reportedly happened less than a week apart. Our Kit Hanley is here with us now with more on the court documents, what they say happened, and how the school is trying to address now this sexual violence.
Yeah, Angela, Daniel, that is right. IU students have been in school for less than a month, and there have already been 4 reports of sexual assault on campus. The most recent attack happened at the Sigma Alpha Epsilon house, where the suspect, 20-year-old Noah Apgar, was a member. Now, 2 women have come forward saying that Apgar raped and choked them despite them telling him to stop. And according to court records, one of the assaults happened after a party on Frat Row where the victim met up with Apgar at the SAE house. The victim told police that Apgar ripped off her clothes and began choking and sexually assaulting her in the bathroom. Video obtained by police shows the victim running away while screaming and crying after the attack. She immediately reported the incident to IUPD, who set out a campus alert later that day. And just 2 days later, another victim of Apgar's came forward, telling police that he came into her sorority house and attacked her, leaving her with serious injuries. She also said that during the attack, he would choke her neck against the back of the couch every time she told him to stop.
It's strength in numbers. It becomes a lot less scary, a lot more like it's not just going to be focused on me. There's other people involved.
The beginning of the school year is known as the red zone. The period from the start of the semester to Thanksgiving break is when schools see nearly 50% of their sexual assaults occur on average. And she says it's disheartening, but with people reporting the crimes, she hopes the offenders can be brought to justice. Now, Apgar is currently in the Monroe County Jail, and as of this morning, there are no future court dates scheduled. Now, if you're looking for help, the university offers several resources for victims of both sexual assault or violence, and you can find those on our website, fox59.
I'm very proud of those young women reporting him and going to the authorities. It's very scary, especially as a young woman. I do think that the climate has changed some so that they feel more comfortable doing that. But I'm very proud of those young women for sure. All right, so now we have my favorite videos, and then of course I got to play the thing. Oh my God. There. Okay. I was trying to move around the videos and was not having a good time. All right. So you can help cats with crochet hats.
Researchers from the University of Montreal have developed crochet beanies for cats. They're more than just a fashion statement. These hats are lined with electrodes to measure brain activity, allowing scientists to study feline behavior in a new way. The findings were published in the Journal of Neuroscience Methods. The research marks the first time EEG brain scans have been done on cats while they're awake. Imagine how tricky it must have been keeping those electrodes in place. The team had to get creative, and thanks to YouTube, they were introduced to the crochet hats. These tiny wool hats allow scientists to measure brain activity in felines without having to sedate them. This breakthrough could pave the way for more advanced research into how cats experience chronic pain, specifically those suffering from osteoarthritis, a condition affecting more than 25% of adult cats worldwide. Previous studies had to rely on heavily sedated cats for these kinds of tests. But now with these innovative little hats, the researchers can monitor their brain activity while they're awake and alert. Beyond the adorable factor, these electrode-filled beanies are already in use to help researchers figure out how cats respond to pleasant smells and sounds. This is part of a broader effort to ease discomfort these animals feel when dealing with chronic pain. While this study is still in the early stages, it's already opening doors for new ways to study not just cats, but other animals with chronic pain. Hats off to the researchers and their stylish beanie-wearing cats for helping us better understand the minds of our feline friends. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Kara Rucker.
Aw, that was cute.
They're an amazing cat. They really are.
Now at 5:30, a large exotic cat captured after being spotted on the loose in the western suburbs.
And the cat is safely in Hoffman Estates, and it's on its way actually to a sanctuary in Wisconsin. WGN's Andrea Medina reports.
It's all right. You're all right, little guy.
Jill Carnegie from the Valley of the Kings Sanctuary and Retreat
It's a young one.
is giving comfort to the young caracal that is being transported to their care after Hoffman Estates police caught it on Tuesday morning.
It's a very young cat. I would say probably 8 months to a year old is all. So it has to be someone's pet that they had and let go.
Cell phone video shows the moments after officers captured the exotic cat and put it in a large cage. At around 7:30 in the morning, police were alerted that it was hiding under a residence deck near the 1600 block of Fultz Drive, but there were previous sightings of it. It's rare for the wildlife refuge to receive a call like this from police.
This is a first. Yes, definitely a first. Very interesting, because usually it's animal control that is called to get them. It's okay. You're okay.
But one thing that's not a first for Carnegie and is rather unsettling for her is hearing about these animals being kept as household pets. She points out that while it's legal to buy them, they require specialized care. Carnegie stresses the importance for potential owners to be educated about the challenges involved in caring for exotic pets.
They're not pets, and unfortunately, anybody and everybody can buy these animals. They can kill a small child, they can kill your cats, they can kill your dogs, and usually as they grow, and if they're aggressive, people can't handle them, and so they dump them.
Carnegie has named the caracal Kabuki. Although the wild cat is native to Africa, it's headed to its new home in Sharon, Wisconsin. There, it will join a community of both large and small cats, along with other animals, where Kabuki will find a warm welcome and a place to thrive.
We have a huge, monstrous enclosure with nice grass and a heated den, and she's going to love it.
Carnegie says they have looked after numerous caracals over the years, but unfortunately, they have all passed from old age or health issues. Kabuki will be the only caracal at their sanctuary. Reporting in Hoffman Estates.
Aw, I hope that there's another animal that it can safely be with. I hate people. Like, don't get an animal like that, especially if you don't know what the hell you're doing. We definitely need stricter laws. It is, let me see, something with a C. Exotic cat. That's not very helpful. It just says it's a caracal, CARACAL. That's the name of what it is. It's a beautiful cat. I would love to have a a cat like that, but I would not because yeah, it can seriously hurt people. Good morning, Mike. You snuck in there at the end. Well, I need to go hop in the shower and get ready for work. I appreciate y'all being here. I love you all. I hope that you have a beautiful day and a happy Thursday. And tomorrow is Friday. Yay! All right. Well, I will see you guys again tomorrow morning. And yeah, you've been here the whole time. Been quiet. I know I got some lurkers. People gotta, get ready and all that stuff. But I appreciate all y'all being here so early in the morning with me. I really do. It's a great start to my day. I get to hang out with my friends and share all the news stuff that my roommate's sick of me talking about. All right. Well, y'all have a beautiful day, and I will see you bright and early tomorrow. Bye, y'all.